Government has failed to utilize development funds amounting to 6.1 billion shillings in the last financial year. Now, the county had allocated 10.9 billion shillings towards development. So now let's cross over live to Nakuru County, where our reporter Joanne Latin is on standby with Peter Mbaye, who is a member of the Budget and Appropriations Committee at the Nakuru County Assembly. Joanne Latin, good morning. Over to you.
Well, good morning to you, Brenda, from Nakuru County. As you said, the county government of Nakuru failed to utilize 6.1 billion shillings. You can imagine that amount of money being rolled over to this financial year. As in, you can imagine the people who suffered from lack of development. But allow me now to go directly to the MCA, Kabazi, who is also a member of the Budget Committee at the County Assembly of Nakuru, so that he can give us a clearer picture on this matter. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Let's start with the budget, the 2019-2020 budget. How much was allocated for recurrent and how much was allocated for development?
We have, yesterday we passed the budget for Nakuru. Sorry, it was a bit late because of the issues about balancing the money. But we've been able to get 53% recurrent and 47% budget of development already, out of which, of course, like you have rightly mentioned, 6.1 billion is not going towards this development for this year. It is to roll over from last financial year. Now, of course, the rollover, one, we want to make it very clear. Rollover means that the money is not getting lost per se, but there's a delay in service delivery because those development projects were supposed to be done the last financial year. One, of course, there's the issue of COVID. There was a lapse for about 4 months. Nothing was happening in the procurement. Of course, there's the issue of systems and all that. That's a major reason why there was a rollover. However, the projects are not going to waste. There's only a delay. It's going to be delayed a bit. That's number one that we are saying. Now, out of that money, we are going to have 1.5 now for this financial year. We are going to have the year with the least development. Now, what happened? We lost 745 million in revenue, local revenue on source, because of the issues of COVID for the 4 months. Because a lot of money is collected from the months of March to June. Now, that was not realized because of the COVID issue. So we are coming into the year 2020-21 with a huge deficit of over 800 million. Now, that means this financial year, we are only going to allocate 816 million that will go to the wards, and against 1.5 last year. So that means the projects we had promised, the Wanjiko had proposed for this financial year, half of them will not be done. That is a painful reality, which we'd want the resident of Nakuru to know from the word go. And that's why we have been saying all along, when we have so much limitations about money, because of the money per person that comes to Nakuru, those are the repercussions. In other countries, for example, they have a lot of money to go around. So they are not affected by these issues of corona and on-source corrections. Here we are affected directly. And that's what we have been talking. Here per capita is about 4,000. Other places per capita is 18,000. So they have a lot of money to pay all the salaries and have a lot of money for development. That is why we have been talking about this formula. And of course, and this not to divert, the CRI is a professional body that came with a formula as a professional to say, look here, we have been using poverty and all those other indexes for the last 7 years, but now can we use this? And we are saying for us, the census of 2019 is what to be used. You can see the impact. You can see the impact of the third revenue formula to Wanjiko on the ground. Those are the issues we are grappling with right now.
Now, as we start the new financial year, you mentioned that little money has been allocated to development. What does this mean for the common mwananchi who is expecting the MCAs to probably deliver on their mandate?
Now, this is very sad. Why it is even more, it's even more sad, this is the last year of development. Let it be very clear. We are normally told we are given 5 years. No, it's only 4 years of development because the year 21-22, there's normally no money that comes for development. It's only recurrent, only for paying salaries because of the issues of politics. The last financial year, there's no money. So we had all hoped if we got, for example, the 1.5 billion that would go to the wards, we'd try to do as much as possible so that what you started, if it's a water project, normally what we normally do, We do a borehole the first year. Then, of course, you determine the amount of water. The second year, you budget for equipping, solarization, for example. Then the third year, you do distribution of the water. So what happens is that a lot of boreholes that were drilled last year, they were hoped to be equipped and all that, or they were equipped and they were hoping to be distributed. Those projects will be left hanging. It is very, very unfortunate. And this is a place where people will realize the import of having equal or rather equitable distribution across the country. For example, another issue, Nakuru, for example, we are 2.1 million. Now, being a former provincial headquarter, a lot of staff that were in the national government were left to the county governments. We have a whopping 450 million budget every month to pay our staff. Now, if you go and do sampling across 47 counties, counties like Vihiga and Lamu and Tana River, they never inherited any staff. You remember, actually, in the last regime, there was a proposal, counties like Nairobi, Mombasa, Embu, Nyeri, that were formerly provincial, to be given some more funds to cater for the staff. Because right now, a lot of our money, you can multiply 4.5 times 12, about 6 billion out of our 9 billion is going to pay staff, and you can do nothing about it. So that's why we are calling for equitable distribution. And by the way, we are talking about equitable. As we do this is the impact. Actually, one of the reasons why we were not able to do the budget very early is because we were not able even to know how to balance the money. We don't know where to take what. We were hoping the revenue would pass. But now we were forced to do what we had to do yesterday, finalize everything because of paying the salaries. Because now staff of Nakuru have not been paid for the last 2 months. We had to do that under a very stringent position. Wanjiko will suffer. It's unfortunate, and that's why we are saying we are waiting for that revenue formula to go, not our way. We don't want any coin from Nakuru to go to Lamu, and no coin from Lamu should come to Nakuru. Let every person get their right, but the per capita must come down from 18 to 3. Let it come to a balance. We may not be equal with Lamu because they have historical issues. But can we get what is at least ours? In Nakuru, we are expecting no less than 2 billion on top, which will go directly to development. Now that what we have must go to recurrent first. Remember, we have some sectors that have suffered already. We are not able to hire as many nurses as we would have wanted because of this budget. We were not able to hire ECD teachers as we would have wanted. We were able to get a bit of extension officers for agriculture, but not as what we would have wanted. The Nakuru person, because of this budget, including these other big counties like Meru and Kakamega and Kiambu, we are suffering. And that's why we are saying, if we don't get justice from the Senate, I can tell you today, we are going to go to court to make sure the court gives us justice.
In your own opinion, do you think the counties have the capacity to absorb the funds that are allocated to them?
I want to say this without fear of contradiction. This narrative that, oh, counties are not able, there's a lot of corruption in the counties, this is a narrative peddled by some people in the central government to deny counties what is rightful theirs. We went to the constitution, which we did, and Kenyans said they want devolution. And I want to say this in passing. You cannot gainsay, we cannot belabor the impact of devolution in this country. I can tell you, for example, there are some roads, there are some water boreholes that would not have done if we are waiting for money from Nairobi. Look here, there are some challenges, I agree, of systems, of structures and all that. But what we should be talking about, let us get what is actually ours. Let us get money that is supposed to become to functions of Nairobi. And then we all, from national and counties and all of us, and Wanjiko and civil society and the media, let us try now to put in now the structures to tighten, capacity building, to try to punish graft and all that. We cannot say, oh, because now they don't have capacity. Let me give an example. In Nakuru, for example, last year, we had a budget of 3 billion development. Oh, most of it was absorbed. Issues come here and there about structures and systems. We are looking at devolution to go on. Counties have the capacity to run their affairs. Capacity building, of course, is a continuous process. The issues of graft and corruption, those are issues that we deal with as we go. You cannot say out of 47 governors that all of them are corrupt. No, there are many who have very good success stories in medical care, in healthcare, infrastructure. In Nakuru, for example, we were able to buy machines worth 400 million. We are adding others so that every sub-county, they have 2 graders, tippers, excavator, and aurora to do the roads throughout the year. Those are the kind of things we are saying. I have been able to open roads that have not been opened for 40 years. So can we be able to celebrate? Let us say this. There are some challenges, yes, but we are able to work out these challenges and move on together. Devolution is here to stay. We are urging the national government to make sure resources that are supposed to be done by the counties are done by the counties. Then we continue working on what we have done. In a nutshell, looking at what we have done for the last 7 years, there are some things that we not have done without devolution. Can we empower that? Can we get what is rightfully ours? And can we please tell our senators to stop tribalizing and putting this as a tribal and community affairs and a regional issue? This is a very serious issue. I beg, if people have other grudges in the Senate, let them not bring them to this issue. Kindly, we ask. This Kenya is for all of us. Nakuru, for example, is home to all the 43 communities. No, we are not talking about tribes. We are talking about counties. Let us talk about counties so that we can move on.
Thank you so much. Well, that is the situation here in Nakuru County, as you heard. He says devolution is working, and therefore they should be allowed to do what they can to ensure that they give development to the people.